All right, hello, Metal Maniacs. It's the Meister from Brews and Tunes. Cheers. I am absolutely thrilled today. I am chatting with the one and only Mr. Rick Bouwman, guitarist, and Elwin Molenaar, drummer of course, the legendary Martyr Dutch heavy metal band, one of my favorite bands out of that region of killer band with some pretty new material. We'll get into that. We'll be talking about what they've been up to this past year. Some really cool stuff. But how are you guys doing?
Hi, thank you. Doing good.
Good, good, good.
Yeah, they were really good. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Well, I was fortunate enough to have seen you guys play. My wife and I were visiting the Netherlands in January, and we saw you play with Jag Panzer. And I knew of the band. I'd heard you guys before, but I was completely blown away by your set. It was really incredible, and the new material. And the fact, I mean, you guys are a legendary band. You've been around, 40 years, basically, yeah, I thought that was just such an incredible show. And I was telling Elwin before the interview that, man, I'd really love to see you guys as a headliner someday. I'm hoping to get back over there and see you guys as the headlining band. But that set was really incredible.
Yeah,
Thank you.
with songs from the new album, Metalhead. It was really cool that you were there in Rotterdam, and it was cool that we could do the support with Jack Panzer, of course. And
Yeah.
you're wearing the shirt. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, from the show. And I've got the special edition of the Planet Metalhead, which has the colored vinyl and the CD and the signed card, and yeah, such a killer album. And it's funny because I think I had chatted with you, Rick, a while ago about it. I was trying to track it down in the States, and you gave me a link so I could buy it here rather than spending a fortune trying to ship it. And yeah, I got the special edition because it's so good. It's such a great album, anybody that's watching this, if you don't own this album, you need to go buy it right now because it kicks ass.
It's a nice special edition, really. And that was released by No Dust Records, a limited edition. And I think you have it from Animated Insanity Records, probably in the
Yes.
US. Or yeah. Also, they work closely with No Dust Records in the Netherlands. So yeah, so it's awesome. And but we have the regular copy still on stock. So and it's new again re-released also for the second time on vinyl with Rock of Angels Records. So everybody can buy it. And Animated Insanity Records, of course, also has a new album on CD. So check it out.
Cool. Very cool. Very cool. Well, let's talk about I don't even know where to start. There's so many questions I have for you guys, but maybe let's start with kind of what's happening now with the band. I know you've been playing a lot of shows, and of course, Elwin, you're the newest member to the band. You joined this past year, last August, I believe.
Yeah, last August.
Yeah, in 2022. And of course, even though you're new to the band, you've got a long pedigree of drumming. You played in multiple bands, and of course, way back in the 90s, you played with Crucified Corpse, brutal death metal band. I'm sure a lot of people will recognize that name. So I was curious, how did the transition, how did you join Martyr? How did that come about? Did you guys already know each other, or kind of how did that come about?
I kind of knew Rick and the guys from Martyr because I organized a charity show and they played there, and that was quite a few years ago. And then all of a sudden, when I kind of decided to take a step back from bands, just trying to take it a bit easier, as busy with loads of things, I got an email from Rick and asked if I could, if I wanted to play drums for Martyr, if I wanted to do audition for them. And I just went like, oh shit, I just want to take it easy. I'm not sure. They showed it to my wife, and my wife just went, "Oh, you got to do this. You can't let this slip." So I just jumped right on it and rented a rehearsal room here in Arnhem and started drumming again after what was it, quite a few years, to be honest. I hadn't played in quite a while because of the whole pandemic and everything. But yeah, I just loved the songs, heard the new album, and it was right up my alley. Just loved it, and just tried out, did the audition, and all the rest is history. And now I'm here.
Very cool. Very cool. So what do you guys have cooking right now? What are you I mean, I know Planet Metalhead hasn't been out for that long, close to a year, but do you have are you writing new material? Or are you kind of what's cooking for the coming year?
Yeah, well, indeed, Planet Metalhead is not out that long. It was released February 2022, but on vinyl since August 2022. Okay. So, and re-released February 24 this year. So it's still really fresh. So it's new for the world. You know what I mean? And that means that we're promoting it mostly these days. So we're doing live shows, promoting Planet Metalhead wherever we can. We did a small club tour, 5 shows, Netherlands and Belgium in January and February. And we are planning new shows from May on. And a lot of shows are coming up, festivals are coming up. Cool. Planning already for 2024. So it's mainly promoting Planet Metalhead right now. But we signed a new record deal with Rock of Angels Records, not only for the re-release of Planet Metalhead and our whole catalog of Martyr, but also for new stuff. So cool. Yeah, we need to start writing new songs.
Nice.
We need to get more busier than we are already. So nice. Yeah.
And you mentioned there, so the record company is going to re-release all the back catalog as well. Is that what you said?
The whole back catalog. But awesome. We wanted to start with Planet Metalhead first because it was sold out so quickly on vinyl. And we said to Rock of Angel Records, please, because that's a fresh one, please release that one first. Because in my opinion, it's also our best album for Martyr in the whole Martyr history. And I want the world to get to know that songs that are on Planet Metalhead, to be honest. So they did. So they did answer our request and re-release Planet Metalhead first before they release the other stuff.
Cool. And that will be on CD and vinyl, the back catalog?
I think only vinyl and digital release.
Oh, okay. Oh, cool.
Streaming platforms and vinyl versions, yeah. In colored, vinyl, and kind of stuff.
Well, I'm as a vinyl junkie, I'm very excited for that. I need to get those. I need to get those earlier albums. That's great. Yeah, and that's one thing that's so cool too. Is that, I mean, you mentioned, and I completely agree with you. Is that Planet Met, and not to say that your past albums aren't amazing. They're fantastic. But I think with Planet Metalhead, it seems like a culmination of all of what you guys have been over the years into this kind of grandiose, it's kind of your opus in a lot of ways. It's such a cool, big album. And like I said, I love your past stuff too, but this one just kind of floored me when the first time I put that needle down, it just really, really floored me. It's such a good album.
Thank you.
So what is the writing process for you guys? Like how does it start with riffs from you, Rick, or does Rob start with lyrics? Kind of what's your writing process?
Different all over the years. When we started with Martyr, it was mainly riffs from my side, bringing it to the rehearsal room, jam, and there was a song that came out of jamming mainly in the rehearsal rooms. But for Planet Metalhead, it was Rob and me writing riffs and stuff and vocal lines here at home, doing some demoing in our home studio, making the songs almost already finished. Then sending it to the rest of the band, especially also to the drummer at that time, Rick Bouwman, to make the drum parts, sending it back to us. It was all transformed through WAV files, transferred through WAV files over the internet. we took back the drums, we rearranged, we recorded, sent it back to him, and rearranged again, etc., etc. Then Joffrey did his part. Then Vinny did his part. Then we did the vocal lines and the vocal recordings in the studio where we rehearsed as well. And sent it back to Rick Falcon, and he put it all together, mixed it and mastered it till the song was finished. And then we did the next one. So it was a totally different kind of approach for Planet, but it worked very well, as you can see at the result. So
yeah, definitely. It sounds like it's very organic the way that you guys built this, kind of put this album together, and took your time.
The cool thing about it is when you make the structure of the song and you send it to the other musician, and well, they are more creative on the drums than I am, for example. So the drums come back to me and they have a total different approach because they are the drummers, so they know where to put the accents and the breaks and stuff, etc. That gives me more inspiration and Rob more inspiration to change the songs a little bit because the drums are so much better than I even thought of it when we wrote the songs, and then the songs gets better and better and better, and then you get, I think, the songs that we have on the album Planet Metalhead. So that's how they grew throughout the writing and recording process.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I find that fascinating, that whole process, that artistic, especially that collaborative process with other musicians. I think that it just I'm not a musician myself. I do paint, but it's, that's a one-man show. And I love the idea of this collaboration and sharing ideas. I think that's one thing that I think is missing sometimes from other art, like painting, or, it's such an individualized thing where a band, you have all these cool ideas coming together and creating something, kind of bigger than yourself, which I think is very cool. And you guys definitely did that with Planet Metalhead for sure. It's such a great album.
Also, it was also, of course, during the pandemic. So we had to find a way because, sometimes we were not even allowed to meet each other because of the measurements,
Right.
So we had to find a way to work around it as well. So we did a lot with file transfers and send it forth and back, and that gave new inspiration to develop the songs. So nice. That was the way that we worked, also due to the pandemic. But I think for the new records, I liked it so much, and the result is that good that I hope, or maybe we want to do it the same way again.
Oh, okay, very cool. Nice.
But it depends on Elwin as well, of course. Because he's
I'm really looking forward to just kind of put my stamp on things, because it's great playing the songs of Planet Metalhead, but I just can't wait to do some stuff that really got my signature on it.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, that'll be cool. Now, and you mentioned, Rick, maybe doing kind of that same process. Do you guys all live in the same area, or is it kind of, you kind of need to do that anyway?
Yeah, we live all over the Netherlands. So the Netherlands is not that big, but with Rick Falcon, for example, he lived like 2.5 hours away from where we rehearse. So, and Vinny, the bass player, lives up north. Now Rick is replaced by Elwin. Elwin lives more close to Vinny, so but I think still like 1 hour, 1.5 hour away from each other from my place. And Joffrey, the other guitar player, lives in the west of the Netherlands, so also like 1 hour away. So we live all over the Netherlands. So
that writing process makes a lot of sense then, at least logistically speaking. That makes sense.
Yeah. And also, when you have the opportunity to do those things at home, in your home studio, you can do it whenever you want, So when I had inspiration, or when something was not good enough, I could change it and make it better every moment that I wanted it to do. You know what I mean? So I had all the time on my hands to work on the album. So if I wanted to do it at night, it was okay. If I wanted to do it in the morning, it was okay, because I didn't need to travel to a studio.
Yeah, Yeah, that makes sense. That's a really good point. And especially, and I completely understand that as as a painter as well. I mean, yeah, sometimes you're just not inspired. And yeah, if you've driven 2 hours to a rehearsal studio and you're not feeling it, that's kind of a waste of time. Whereas, at home you can like, okay, I'm really in the mood to do this, or, I'm gonna go get a beer. I'll do this later. I'm not in the mood.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
You pay by the hour in the studio, so
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a lot of money. Yeah, let's be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, cool. Let's change gears a little bit. I wanted to ask about let's go back in time. This is a question for both of you, and yeah, whichever order you want to go in. I was really curious how you got started in music in the first place. Did you come from musical families? Like, what was the impetus? What was the starting point for you as a musician?
Owen?
Okay. Well, I'm not really from a musical family, but I always wanted to play drums when I was little. Just started, yeah, like everyone, I think, started pots and pans, just used those. And then then I decided that I really wanted to play drums, but I had to do a full year of recorder, get to learn that. Yeah, it was awful. And but as soon as I got into drum lessons, I was fantastic. I started when I was about 8 years, 8 years old, and then played drums ever since.
Nice.
And yeah, then just when I was about 18 years old, something like that, and then I just wanted to play in a band and wanted to try that out, see how that all happened, and yeah, that was where it all started.
Very cool. Very cool. How about you,
Yeah.
Rick?
Me, my father was a clarinet player, but I don't know if clarinet is the English word. Maybe you know, Elwin, what I mean?
No, no, clarinet. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Clarinet. He was a jazz musician. And I started playing when I was 15, and it was mainly because my brother had a guitar, but he didn't play on it. So I took it from him, and I started playing, and I bought an amp, and I bought a big muff, distortion pedal. I learned 3 chords, and it was amazing. So I continued with guitar playing, and I was 15 when I started, and I was 17 when we started Martyrs. So that was kind of quick. And I never left Martyrs. So yeah, it is sort of my only band since like 40 years.
Wow. Yeah, that's great. I didn't realize, yeah, you're 17 years old. That's really cool. Yeah, 1982, right? Was when the Martyr you and Rob formed Martyr.
Yeah.
That's so cool. It's amazing that 40 years of yeah, that's great. That's fantastic.
40 years of Dutch metal, we always say.
Yeah. Yeah, very
Dutch metal legends. Yeah.
Pardon? Sorry,
Dutch metal legends.
nice. I was curious too, kind of along the same lines for both of you, with your upbringing, starting as young as you were playing, who were the big influences for you as far as Elwin, who were the drummers that influenced you? Like who did you look up to?
At first it was Phil Collins, to be honest. And then in the Edge Night, come on, that Phil on drums, that is one of the most recognized and awesome fills on drums ever. And then of course Lars Ulrich.
Okay.
Just really, Metallica, when I heard that for the first time, it just blew me away. But later on it kind of turned to Adrian Erlandson. He's the drummer of At the Gates.
Oh,
and and what he does is he just does what needs to be done, doesn't do any extra special stuff. No, he just completes the band and he knows exactly what to do on drums, and that's what I like. He just finishes strong, or he starts strong and finishes strong as well. So yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, those two are my three basically are my main influences. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. How about you, Rick? Who were your kind of influences as far as guitar?
Yeah, when I was really young, and I didn't play guitar yet, but I had posters from Jimi Hendrix in my room and Jimmy Page, Led Zeppelin. But my main influences when I started playing guitar is I'm influenced by blues really, but the blues guitar players are not my heroes. My heroes are Randy Rhoads and Eddie Van Halen, of course. When I started playing like 1982, 1980, of course, you had already the Van Halen album on the market. So, yeah, Eddie Van Halen. Ozzy Osbourne came along with, his first solo album, and Diary of a Madman with Randy Rhoads. So yeah, those were my main influence, and they still are my favorite players.
Oh, okay, very cool. Yeah, great material there. There's so much great stuff there.
Yeah.
I was curious, Rick, how did so did you and Rob grow up together? Like, how did Martyr start? How did that all start up? What was the starting point for the band?
Yeah, we lived in the same place, Utrecht, in the middle of the Netherlands. And when I was 17 and started Martyr, or wanted to start a band, Rob was already also playing in a band. And I have seen him already play, but he played guitar and he played bass. Rob is more of a multi-instrumentalist, to be honest. He can play everything.
Wow.
He's a very good guitar player, by the way, as well. And I started Martyr, but he wasn't in the band from the very first beginning.
Oh, okay.
I had some friends that played guitar, and when you start a band, you look first in your area and in your friends, with your friends looking for you. Can you play guitar or can you play bass? And then we had the band Martyr with a couple of friends. Started to record a demo, and one of my friends it was Ron Huygens, and he was the producer. It's a big word because we recorded it all with cassette decks in our rehearsal room. But he was the producer, so to say, and he was a friend of Rob. And I've seen Rob already play with his school band at school, etc. He was not in the same school as I was, but I had seen him playing guitar. And he was with Ron, and they were recording a 4-song demo for us. And we recorded the vocals, but then Rob said, I can do that much better. So we said, well, go ahead. And he did it much better. So that's when he joined. So he's already on the first demo, so he's there from the beginning.
Nice. But, and that was that if it's too loud, you're too old, was that demo?
Yeah, that's the demo. Yeah.
Cool. Is that available? Can you is that anywhere? I gotta find that.
I think it's hard to find. Yeah, I have a copy here, but I think it's hard to find. Maybe you find it on eBay or on Discogs, maybe.
Yeah, I need to look around for that.
A couple of $100.
Yeah, it's probably expensive.
Yeah. But that was the beginning, and that is how Rob joined, and that was also the first release that we had. So,
cool.
Recorded on cassette decks. Yeah.
Nice. And then, of course, a couple of years later, your full album For the Universe came out in 1985, I think, if I got my dates right. Yeah, I believe that was 85, and then the rest is history. What I think is amazing, and I think is a kind of I'm trying to think of the right wording here. I think it's a good indication of how talented the band is that you look at 40 years of Martyr, and there are 5 releases. For some bands that doesn't seem like a lot, but I think those albums are so impactful that and there's so much staying power with that band, with the band. And it's and you've always I don't want to project on you, but I've always felt like you guys always kind of stayed true to who you are and what you wanted to create. I hate using the term sell out, but there's bands that sell out for certain movements or because of producers, but I always felt Martyr always stayed true to your core and what you are, even in the years when metal wasn't very popular anymore, or because the whole grunge thing came about, and and I know you guys kind of stopped playing for a little while, but you got back into it.
We got back into it mainly on request to do the first 2 albums reunion shows, so to speak. Like, and we did it on the good and big festivals like Keep It True and Headbangers Open Air in the mid zeros. But yeah, we didn't release a lot of albums, but we wanted to be not 100%, but 200% satisfied about it ourselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're not the writers because we can write. I can write a song and have it done tomorrow, but then I'm not really satisfied with it. And Rob will not be satisfied with it either. We want us to be satisfied with it, not 100%, but 200%. That's when we will record and release it. And then we hope that the rest of the fans will like it as well. But first, we want to be very satisfied with it ourselves. And we are very we're critical about what we write and especially what we want to release. Yeah.
Nice. And I think what's cool too about your sound is it translates really well to the live venue, to I think your albums sound almost that you have that same energy that you have on stage. And that was one thing that I was really impressed by watching you guys, is how fun it, as an audience member, how fun it was watching the band play. You guys are really tight, but you also look like you're having a blast. Like, you guys look like you're having a really good time on stage. All of you. You're like
we're having it, and but that's what we want for the audience. They come to us, they pay money for to go into the venue, and they want to have a good time. Yeah. So maybe we don't even want to be perfect, but we want to have a good time for ourselves as well. But especially, I want to enjoy the audience, want to entertain the audience. That's when you see Rob running around in the crowd. He goes all runs around in the crowd. And maybe sometimes I think, is that Rob that is singing? No, he gave the microphone to one of the audience that is screaming his lungs out. They think, oh, what is that? It's the crowd that wants to remember a good night, that they had a good show, saw a good band and stuff like that. We call it the Martyr experience, by the way. So we want the audience to experience the band and the music, but also the entertainment.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. I think that's really important. And part of that Martyr experience too is the stage show. Like, you guys, it's not just a concert, it's a show. I mean, you've got the guys with the hoods that come out at the beginning, and the Grim Reaper comes out and ceremoniously kills all of you at the end, basically, which I think is great. And you guys have been doing that for a long time, right? How did that start?
Really started in '84 when we did our first live shows.
Wow.
We have the Jägermeister thing.
Oh
stage.
Yeah.
Jägermeister thing backstage, the Jägermeister thing after the show. But we already had that in 1984. Sometimes they say that Metallica invented it, but that's not true. We did.
Nice.
But we already had that in 1984. We had the Monks with the Hoods in 1984 already. It's something that we'd like to bring back again on the stage, and want people to have a good time and see something more than just five guys on that stage doing their thing.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it was as I mentioned. I mean, one, you guys are really tight. You're fun to watch, but then also, there's kind of this spectacle about it, which made it even more fun. Just having, this visual candy, I guess you could, for lack of a better term.
When we play one of the classic songs, Speed of Samurai, I don't know if you played it when you were there in Rotterdam.
No, we didn't.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we have it in the set and sometimes we don't. But when we do have it in the set, the crowd knows that they can come on the stage and headbang with the band. And that's really difficult to play when you have guys next to you, and then they want to hang out with you on the stage, and and playing the song tight as well. But everybody that goes on the stage will always remember the time that they were on the stage with us, as a special night. I was on the stage.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, and it seems like that's kind of your focus. You guys want, from what I mean, I've only seen you the one time, but I've seen lots of footage on YouTube as well. And it seems like, yeah, you guys always kind of, go out and play your best, but you bring the crowd into it and really up the energy of which is great to see that. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you want to make an experience for very memorable experience, which is what I loved. And I definitely took that home. I mean, I still, my wife and I still talk about it, like what a great show that was. I mean, and just even the humor, like Rop at one point, licked Jeff's head and Jeff like pulled away, like, what are you doing? But it was hysterical.
We ourselves sometimes don't know what will happen on that stage with Rop. Because when sometimes I'm really concentrated in the solo and he pulls out the plug of my guitar, those kind of things happen. You never know.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, it seems fun. And well, you mentioned, the Jägermeister. I thought that's a great tradition that you guys have been doing forever. Yeah, y'all take a shot of, take a pull from the bottle of Jaeger. That's that's old school. That goes, I remember, seeing bands in the 80s. Yeah.
First I drink, we drink before the show or with the guys, and then we go on stage and I drink on stage, and then I give it to the crowd. It always comes back empty. So people have a good time. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. That's so cool. That's so cool. Well, gentlemen, this was an absolute pleasure chatting with you and an honor, really. Martyr is, legendary band, one of the greats, not just out of the Netherlands, but I mean, I think, just one of the great heavy metal bands in general. In terms of, the Netherlands, I put you guys, Vengeance, Martyr, you guys are right, two of the great bands out of that region. Hopefully, for those watching, if you look in hopefully you'll be able to catch a live show if you're in that area. As Rick mentioned, there's a bunch of shows coming up in the not too distant future, festivals. You guys will be playing festivals. And there's a link in the description below. So definitely check out Martyr. If you haven't heard Martyr before, check them out. Buy this killer album, Planet Metalhead. You will not be sorry. It's traditional kick-ass heavy metal the way it's supposed to be played. I absolutely adore it. So gentlemen, Rick, Elwin, thank you so much for chatting with me. This was great.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome to see you in Rotterdam, and awesome to see you again right now. So hopefully we will again in the near future.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, hopefully I'll get back over there and be able to see you guys live. That would be killer.
Killer.
Cool.